my YouTube channel, One Race, Human Race, All Human. Today is Saturday, May 28th, 2022. What can we do in order to curb and end this mass violence? One, there's one race, human race. We're all in this together. Two, Congress can hold congressional hearings at all the places around the country where we've had violence. This will help the American public understand what's happening, what's going on. Number three, right now you're going to hear Ted Cruz play politics on this and blame the Democrats. The Democratic Party must show the people that when they got rid of the AR-15 ban, as President Biden said a couple days ago, violence went up. And that sensible gun laws will protect the people in our nation. Have hearings, go around the country and educate. Hear law enforcement. Do law enforcement want to go against AR-15s? Hear them. It will protect our police, it will protect our children, protect our society by having sensible gun control and AR-15 ban, as it was during the Clinton administration.
Ultimately, as we all know, what stops armed bad guys is armed good guys.
As the age-old saying goes, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Have you ever heard that? No, you've never heard that.
Texas Senate.
Find out why the response of what they're saying, an hour of not going inside, and then have a hearing and bring the man who went in there who was at the barber shop and got a text by his wife that there's a gunman in school, and who left his barber shop chair, used the barber's, I think, shotgun, and went in there and got his wife out. His child was in there also, another kid's out. Bring him before the congressional hearing, okay? As a hero to what could have been done by others, and investigate this thing.
Senator Ted Cruz and the former president at the NRA conference yesterday, pushing that false narrative yet again. I'm joined by former HUD Secretary, MSNBC political analyst Leon Castro here in Uvalde, Texas. Help me understand why the NRA has been able to maintain such a stronghold over the Republican Party.
I think it's two things. Unfortunately, it's an instance where money talks in politics. I mean, we're listening to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, over the course of his political career, has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the NRA and prominent members, and that has an influence. They're one of the most influential groups when it comes especially to right-wing politics. The second thing is, especially in the Republican Party, the primary is everything. So you have these politicians that are so worried about getting a little bit too far out there, they would say, to the left on guns, and then getting primaried with the support of the NRA and its money. I think, actually, I'd say legitimately, you have a lot of single-issue voters who care passionately about the issue of guns, and they have done a better job historically at drumming up those voters than folks who want gun control have in making that an important issue that people go and show up to the polls on. And as long as that's the case, you're going to keep having the Ted Cruzes, the Greg Abbotts, and others who double down on this stuff.
When you talk to people, advocates who do gun safety work, they talk about the fact that this is going to have to be a multi-year effort to match the amount of time that the NRA has had to build, to organize around this. There's some sound from Ted Cruz offering his solution to the school shooting problem. I want you to take a listen.
I've introduced legislation to say schools like this elementary school behind me can get federal grants to harden their security, to put in bulletproof doors, bulletproof glass, to put in armed police officers to protect kids. $1.3 billion in federal funds that are available. Again, the Democrats blocked a vote on it. And I got to say, this is frustrating here.
Your response to Senator Cruz?
Look, I think folks agree with providing good security at schools. I don't think you'll find a parent out there that says, no, I don't want, doors to be secure and so forth. At the same time, I think a lot of folks understand that that's not enough. We've seen not only schools, but shopping malls, grocery stores, churches, where people have been victimized by these shooters with assault-style weapons, and that's really the problem. That's what we're seeing here. The other thing is that Ted Cruz has been all over the place when it comes to doors. He suggested, I think 2 days ago, that you have just one door with 5 police officers there, and people immediately said, well, what are you going to do if there's a fire? How are you going to get people out? It's also ironic in this case because the problem was at one point that the police officers couldn't get through the door they needed to get through in time.
Of course. I have some more sound that I want to play for you. This week you had Democratic candidate for Texas Governor Beto O'Rourke confronting Abbott. Let's take a listen. We do not have the sound. I think at this point you are familiar with it, our viewers are familiar with it. And everyone's question is, what is it going to take to break through, right? Is this what it's going to take to break through? And in a state like Texas, where, as you said, legislature is,
Again, congressional hearings across the country to all the mass shootings in order to hear testimony from victims, to get suggestions, go back down to Parkland and have those young people testify, and keep this on the front burner, as well as the Build Back Better Act, having hearings on that, as well as voting rights, having hearings on that, and explain to the American public that there are 50 senators who are Democrats, and there are 50 senators who are Republicans, and all 50 Republicans have voted against Build Back Better. And yes, you had a couple of Democrats also, but mainly the Republican Party is the problem. And we must have solutions for all of us together. Thank you for being on my YouTube channel, One Race, Human Race, All Human.